Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing. I'd like to state that this hearing is not about science. It's about the destructive economic impacts of the EPA trying to use the Clean Air Act for what it was never designed to do, regulate greenhouse gases. Administrator Jackson, thank you for being here today. I have several companies in my district ranging from chemical companies, manufacturing, energy companies, and they are scared to death of the EPA's pending rules on greenhouse gas. The energy industry in my state employs over 320,000 workers, and I intend to see that number grow by vigorously supporting this legislation. The Oklahoma Farm Bureau is also concerned with the GHG rule, as they are the second largest industry in my state. Heck, Administrator Jackson, I've even had churches that are concerned about this. You have been petitioned to set GHG standards for agricultural emissions. Do you intend to act on this?
Sir, as I stated earlier, there are no agricultural sources subject to EPA's mandatory reporting rule and no agricultural sources that need to address greenhouse gas emissions and Clean Air Act permits before July of 2013.
So that would be no? Just no? Yeah. Has EPA done an analysis on how much greenhouse gas regulations will impact the cost of producing food on farms and the price of American families will have to pay at the grocery store? I mean, I have a lot of people concerned that spend a lot of their money on groceries. If you're taxing the food they eat, it keeps them alive.
Sir, I just mentioned that we're not going to be regulating agricultural sources. They're not even required to be subject to our mandatory reporting rule for greenhouse gas.
But did you do any analysis on how it would affect the price of food at all? You don't do any of that, huh?
No, sir. When we analyze our regulations, or for example, as we analyzed legislation pending before this committee last year, we analyzed changes in potential energy costs and, of course, its impact on the economy.
Do you think it would be a good idea to require an economic analysis on how these rules impact family farms and the price of groceries? Is it that you don't know what the total economic impacts will be on the agricultural section? All told, 17,000 farms nationwide are impacted by the EPA's greenhouse gas regulations.
Sir, we will do economic analysis of regulations as they are proposed and finalized. That's a process required under the Clean Air Act already.
I'm concerned that we have no idea what the avalanche of greenhouse gas rules will cost, costs that could shift and shatter the economy. The Obama administration has come out recently with an initiative for regulatory reform, seeking to be more business-friendly, stating that our regulatory system must take into account benefits and costs. On paper, we agree. Has EPA done an analysis of what the full cost of regulating greenhouse gas under the Clean Air Act will be?
We do regulatory analyses, and of course we will be complying with the President's executive order to do a cumulative review of all of our regulations. Under the Clean Air Act, we know that the benefits to costs of the Clean Air Act are 30 to 40 to 1 cumulatively, and in the regulations recently proposed are oftentimes at least double, if not an order or two of magnitude higher than the cost. The benefits are higher than the cost.
So you will be doing an analysis. When will you be doing it? Do you know?
We will do economic analysis as part of the rulemaking process, sir.
Has the EPA looked at the impact on jobs?
Yes, just yesterday EPA put out a white paper in response to a question from a member of this committee on jobs and the Clean Air Act, and it confirms that which we've heard earlier today, which is that having regulatory certainty allows businesses to innovate and give us clean air and grow our economy at the same time. That is the history and legacy of the Clean Air Act, sir. It's a very powerful piece of legislation.
Have you looked at the risk of manufacturing jobs moving overseas? I hear that all the time, that people are going to do it if this happens. Do you look at that?
We do an economic and jobs impacts analysis on regulations as part of the regulatory process, sir.
So you do it. Thank you. But you haven't done that yet?
We do them for the regulations as they come out.
When will you be doing it?
When the regulations are proposed for example, new source performance standards, we will do analyses as part of the regulatory process.
Thank you. I yield back.